was born in 1987. Sometimes I sit back and realize I've watched the world completely change in my lifetime. Not slowly either. Pretty fast. And in every way possible that I can think of right now. The way we communicate, the way we date, the way we entertain ourselves, and the way we spend time with each other. And even the way we think. And honestly, I missed life when it was simpler. Welcome to the bench session, where we unload the weight, one session at a time. I'm Juan, and this is a space for real, honest, and open conversations. The kind we usually only have with ourselves. No filters, no hiding. Just me, a mic, and a bench. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about how life used to be, at least for me when I was growing up, and some of the things have changed and some of the things that have, stayed the same, really. But life is very different now compared to how it was in the 90s and early 2000s. And I know every generation is going to say this, but I really think people who grew up when we did experienced something unique, because we got to experience both worlds. The last version of life before technology took over, and the beginning of the world we live in now. Growing up before everything was online. When I was a kid, being home meant being unreachable. If someone called your house and you weren't there, that was it. There was no missed calls. There was no text messages, no tracking of locations, no read receipts, no constant notifications. And honestly, there was a little bit of peace in that. People had space. People disappeared for hours and nobody panicked. Now we're all so connected 24/7. And somehow we feel more disconnected than we ever did before. Technology changed everything. We watched tech evolve very fast. And I don't think younger generations fully understand how crazy that transition was. We went from cassette tapes, VHS, CDs, Walkman, portable CD players that skipped if you moved too fast, and we went from all that to carrying the entire world basically in our pockets. It's pretty crazy to think about. CD players are literally in the museums right now. It's amazing. Stuff was used every single day growing up. Now it's all behind glass for kids to look at historically. Isn't that something to think about? And all that happened in one lifetime, in our lifetime. I mean, we still have some things that are still around, such as vinyl records and things like that, but even those are still in museums. It's crazy to think about. The internet changed human interaction. The internet used to feel kind of exciting. Now it feels like you can't avoid it. In its infancy, you logged on for a little while, you talked to people on AOL Instant Message, or maybe checked your MySpace, download some music that probably gave your computer tons of viruses, and then you logged off. Life still existed outside of the screen. Now the internet is life for a lot of people. As you are listening to this on a Spotify or YouTube or Apple Music or wherever you're listening to this through with the internet. So yeah, internet is life for a lot of people. They make their careers off the internet. We have relationships, we have social media, we have arguments, we seek attention. Our identities can be defined based on our social media presence or our online presence. Everything lives online now. And something got lost along the way. Something human got lost in that transition. We used to be more present. I miss moments feeling real. People actually watching concerts instead of recording the entire thing. People going to places without documenting every single second. Family parties where nobody was staring at their phones and everybody was just interacting with each other. Hell, even boredom was different. People don't realize boredom used to create our imagination. It used to kickstart that. Now, the second we feel silence, everybody grabs their phone and starts scrolling through social media or through TikTok or YouTube or wherever it is that their mind takes them. Hell, even dating or relationships or connections have changed. And I don't know if dating changed for the better or not. Technology gave people access to more people than ever before. But somehow relationships feel less connected. Everything feels disposable now. You have an argument, you swipe left. Slight inconvenience, swipe left. People used to work through things more. That's why marriages lasted so long before. Now relationships barely last a year before they have some kind of argument and split up. It's crazy how things have slowly changed. And in that same phrase, they've also rapidly changed. It's weird. The pace of life has changed. I think that is the biggest thing. Life feels faster now. It's the days are going by, the years are flying by, the seasons are flying by. Mentally, everything's faster. Emotionally, everything's faster. Everything is in constant move. News, social medias, trends, opinions, messages, notifications. There's never silence anymore. And I think a lot of people could just be mentally exhausted because of it. Our brains were not designed to process this much constantly. We need some kind of a break. Missing simplicity isn't rejecting progress. It's not old dog can't learn new tricks or somebody stuck in their old ways. Just, missing simpler times means we miss simpler times. Technology helped a lot of things. Some changes are good, but not everything has been good. Like I said, we were disconnected where most people are no longer in the present moment. They're recording it to look at it later. And it's okay to admit that not everything that involved with technology is good. There's something meaningful that exists when you slow things down. In real conversations, in human connections that wasn't filtered through screens. When you talk to somebody face to face, things, feel different versus the text messages. You get to see body language, see facial expressions, micro expressions, understand where they're coming from versus misinterpreting things on your phone. And, because of all of this, we actually, I haven't posted about this and I don't think I will, but we ended up buying a camper. So we have a camper, we have a campsite that's not too far away from the city, but it's far enough where it doesn't feel like you're in the city anymore. And yeah, we do have like Starlink and, Apple TV and stuff like that, but technology is still around, but it's also a whole different community there and more interactions. You get to talk to people, you get to, meet new people, understand how some people have left their homes permanently and now are completely living off of RVs and either staying at a campsite or traveling or basically living in one section for the summer and then moving on to another state for the winter, that kind of stuff. And yeah, we still have our phones. We still, scroll through social media, but everything else, just the sitting outside, enjoying the weather, enjoying nature, watching people drive around in golf carts and everything like that. It's very peaceful. It helps you be in the moment, be in the present. And I think that's what I was looking for. And that helped me out mentally. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a ton of work. Essentially, it's a second home. So we have to, build decks or build patio furniture, build sheds. You still got all the basic essentials that you need to do to, make it livable, plus all the regular chores of sweeping, mowing the grass, and all that kind of stuff. So the relaxing part is sprinkled in there in the midst of all the other stuff that you have to do. But again, it's more about being in the present and being in the moment and enjoying life, slowing things down a little bit. Like I said earlier, life is moving way too fast. and we're not always seeing it. We always react to it when something tragic happens. Like last week, our oldest dog passed away, and we knew it was coming, but we just didn't know it was going to be that quick. And it was one of those days where I woke up and I felt it. I woke up. She was at the corner of our bed just staring out the window. And she's usually sleeping when I wake up. But yeah, she was staring out the window, and it's just, she wouldn't move. She would just look out the window. And I felt it in that moment. I was like, today is the day. You know, I woke up my wife and I told her, hey, I think today's the day. And I got dressed. I took our dog downstairs, and she wandered around for a little bit. She went into her closet, which is our coat closet, where she likes to just lay in there. And she eventually passed. I woke up. My wife was still upstairs, so I called her down to say, hey, she's passing. We woke up our daughter. So our dog wasn't alone. We were there. Our other dogs were there too. So everybody kind of knew it was time. So she went, surrounded by people that loved her. And that kind of stuff makes you realize that time moves fast. I mean, had her for 17 years, 16 years, somewhere around there. And it feels like a blink of an eye. It doesn't feel like it was that long. So yeah, being at the campsite and just slowing things down, even if it's for a weekend or an hour or two, it's peaceful. It's, like I said, it just makes you be more present and see what's going on, and not be so focused on your phone and wanting to do all of this technology stuff, or just scrolling through social media and missing the world around you. And that brings a lot of mental relief, at least for me. So if there's anything you want to take away from this session today, is that maybe the reason so many people feel overwhelmed today is because life stops slowing down long enough for people to breathe. And maybe that what we miss isn't just old technology, old music, or old movies. Maybe we just miss how life felt back then. Simpler, slower, more real. Thanks for sitting down with me for another session. If this episode brought back memories for you, or made you think about how life has changed, share it with someone who grew up during the same era. And maybe take a little time this week to disconnect from the noise for a while. And remember, you don't have to carry everything alone. This is what the bench is for. I'll catch you guys on the next one.